In episode 1 of my Homey series, I started from zero, unboxing, first time setup, and a simple automation to see how beginner friendly Homey really is. So if you're thinking about getting a Homey Pro, make sure you watch episode 1 first. I'll leave the link in the description. Today in episode 2, we're going one step further. I want to look deeper into Homey's features and most importantly, how well it handles real smart homes with mixed brands. Because the big promise of Homey is simple, one hub, one app, and no extra bridges or hubs for every brand. So I grabbed a bunch of devices I already have around the house. I have an Ikea Zigbee light, a Sonoff outdoor temperature sensor, I have a Aqara thermostat, motion sensors, and a few Zigbee buttons, perfect for testing multi-brand pairing in a real setup. So in this episode, we'll pair a few of those devices into Homey, then we'll jump into flows, take a first look at advanced flow, and build a practical automation. Let's get started. This is a pretty realistic smart home setup. Different brands, different ecosystems, different protocols. Let's see how Homey handles all of this. Before we install apps and start pairing devices, let me quickly show you the main Homey menus, so you know where everything is. This is the home page. Here you can see the family members added to Homey, a quick weather overview, and shortcuts to your favorite devices and favorite flows. It's a simple dashboard designed to give you fast access to the things you use most. Next tab is the zones and the devices. Zones are basically the rooms in your house. This matters because later you can trigger flows based where the device is, like a hallway motion or a kitchen lights. This is also where all your paired devices live. When you add sensors, lights, buttons, or any device, you'll see them all here organized by zones. Next tab are the flows. Flows are Homey's automations. This is where you'll build the logic. Standard flows for simple automations and advanced flows for more complex when you want more control. Next tab is the insights. This is where you can check history like temperature graphs, motion activity, and anything your sensors report. It's a great for troubleshooting and verifying if your automations work. And finally, the last tab is the Homey script. I won't use it in this beginner series, but it's good to know it exists if you want to go deeper later. Alright, now that you know where things are, let's talk about the most important piece behind multi-brand support in Homey, and that is apps. Before we start pairing devices, there's one important concept you need to understand about Homey, and that is apps. In Homey, everything starts with an app. Apps are what tell Homey how to talk to different brands and devices. You think of Homey apps a bit like integrations in Home Assistant, but here they're installed directly from the Homey App Store inside the Homey app. Each brand usually has its own app. Ikea, Aqara, Sonoff, Tuya, Roborock, all of them live here. When you install an app, Homey immediately knows what device it supports, what capabilities does the device have, and what action you can use in automations. That's why pairing devices from different brands still feels consistent. Another important thing to keep in mind. Homey apps can be developed by Atom, by the device manufacturer, or by the community. So before installing an app, it's always a good idea to quickly check who built the app, when it was last updated, and whether it explicitly supports your device. This usually gives you a pretty good idea of how reliable the integration is. If a device or brand doesn't have a Homey app, no problem. If it uses Matter or standard Zigbee, you can still integrate them with the Zigbee or Matter integration. So Homey works best when the brand has a native app or the device follows open standards. This is different from Home Assistant, where you can sometimes work around things using custom integrations. With Homey, the philosophy is simpler. If it's supported, it works well. If it's not, you usually won't force it. And honestly, for most users, that's not a bad thing. It keeps the system clean, predictable, and easier to maintain. So now that we understand how Homey apps work, let's start pairing some real devices and see how this looks in practice. I'll start with an Ikea Zigbee light because this is usually the easiest case. I put the bulb into pairing mode. Quick note for anyone who's just starting with home automation. Pairing a device is usually done by pressing and holding a small button on the device for a few seconds until the LED starts blinking. For smart lights, it's a bit different. You normally turn the light on and off about 4 or 5 times, and once it starts blinking or flashing, it means the bulb is in pairing mode. Once the bulb is in pairing mode, I select Ikea in Homey, then choose the device, in my case Tradfri RGBV. After that, the device pairs into Homey. Finally, it's a good idea to give the light a clear name and assign it to the correct room, so later you always know exactly where it is and can use it easily in automations. Great, now let's add some more sensors. Next I'll add the Sonoff outdoor temperature sensor. Same process, press and hold the pairing button, add device, select Sonoff, find the sensor model, and that is it. Even though this is a different brand, the pairing flow feels exactly the same. Now let's add the Zigbee motion sensor. Again, I select Nous from the apps, put the device into pairing mode and follow the same process. And Homey picks it up without any issues. What I like here is that Homey immediately exposes the right controls and sensor data without extra configuration. So as you can see, adding devices from different brands, it's easy. Now that we have a motion sensor and a smart light, we can move on to more advanced automations. What we want to do? We want the light to turn on when motion is detected, only between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. and turn off after a short time, when there's no more motion. This is a perfect example of advanced flow because everything is visual and easy to follow. So let's get started. We go to Flows, Create Flow and choose Advanced Flow. Instead of a simple list, this opens a diagram style editor where you can visually connect triggers, conditions and actions. Step 1. Motion detected. That's the trigger. First I click Add and choose When. I select my motion sensor and from the available options I choose When motion alarm turned on. This is our trigger, so I place it in the left side of the diagram. Step 2. Time condition. Next we want this automation to work only at a certain time. So I click Add again, choose And, then go to Date and Time and select Time is Between. I place this block right after the motion trigger and set the time between 5 o'clock p.m. and 8 o'clock a.m. Then I connect the motion trigger to the time condition by drawing a line between them. Step 3. Now we need to turn the light on. Now we need to add action. I click Add again, choose Then, and then I find my Ikea light. In my case it's the Sonoff lamp, and select Turn On. I place the action block next to the others and connect everything together. At this point, the logic is simple. When motion is detected and the time is between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m., the light turns on. Now we need a second path to turn the light off. We could repeat the whole process again, but there's a much faster way. Instead, I'll copy the first trigger, paste it underneath, and simply change it to When motion alarm turned off, and the same applies to the time condition. I copy the time is between block, paste it here without changing anything, and connect it to the new trigger. Next, I copy the action we used before and change it from turn on to turn off. And at this point, there's just one thing missing, the delay timer. We don't want the light to turn off immediately when the motion stops. So before connecting everything, I right-click on the connection line, choose Add, then select Delay. A new delay block appears and I set it to 30 seconds. Finally, I connect the time condition to the delay and the delay to the turn off action. And that's it. Now the automation works like this. Motion detected at night, the light turns on. No motion for 30 seconds, the light turns off. So this was episode 2. You've now seen how Homey handles mixed brands devices, how pairing works, and how easy it is to build automations using flows. In episode 3 we'll go a step further with variables, more complex logic, and we'll also talk about backup and reliability. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions.